I think it's just somebody that just works their tail off. A lot of people, when you get to that point, like, they play the game for a lot of the wrong reasons, like, whether it's money or whatever. I think that someone like myself, like, kind of like we said, like, I've just been somebody that's always just run their own race and been someone that regardless of what happens, like, I'm just gonna work. Because, like, that's all I've known since I was a kid. It's just like, if you want something, you just gotta work for it.
Welcome to the Elevated Limits podcast show. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Elevated Podcast. Today we have a special guest in the building. He played running back at Harvard for 4 years, and he left to go play at Monmouth for the next 2 years. This is where he was the single-season rushing. He had a single-season rushing touchdowns record. Also led the nation in rushing touchdowns as well. Please help me welcome my brother, Sone Enzo. Did I say that right? Enzo.
Yeah, you did.
My dog.
I appreciate you having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
How you doing, bro? How's everything?
It's going good, man. I'm just enjoying life, enjoying the process that I'm in right now. So, I can't really complain.
You've been training nonstop now, right? Like, I see you and Jure in the weight room every day doing speed and agility. That relationship's pretty new, though, right? Or you guys known each other for a while?
Like, I think I met Jure probably, I want to say sometime like my freshman or sophomore year of college, when we started working out at Union.
Okay.
But he also, one of my best friends that I grew up with and played high school with, my boy Zay, he played DB with Jure, Jure's last season. So that was kind of the connection there. And then from there, I would see him when he would train and all the other stuff. But it's the first time that me and him have really like gotten to work out together and, started to become close and just build that relationship.
For sure. I definitely see it. Like, you guys are, like, if you work out with someone once and then it continues for months and months and months after, like, there's something there, right? Like, you guys obviously, iron sharpens iron at the end of the day. And I could tell you guys are pushing each other. And Jure's an awesome guy. That's my dog. So shout out to him. I want to talk about your journey today, though, bro, because you have a fascinating story. And like we talked yesterday, like, I think a lot of kids could take away from what you've been through. And I think it's a story of like perseverance and waiting on your moment and your time. And I don't know, I just think you live in a different day and age where once something is difficult, people are quick to up and move and make a decision, like to leave. And I don't know, I feel like your story's one that kids can learn from. So I want to take it back though, from the very beginning, right? Growing up in New Jersey, first generation out here, your dad is real stern, mom's lovey-dovey, right? Like, talk about like some of the principles that they instilled in you as a kid and like just overall, like, what was your childhood like?
I mean, it was like, they instilled everything in me, like just hard work, really. Like if you want something in life, you got to just work for it. But growing up, like, we didn't have excess of things, but we had everything that we needed. And that's all we needed, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, that was basically it. Like, they provided and they put food on the table for us and, made sure we had shoes and food to eat, every night. So, like, at the end of the day, like, I couldn't complain growing up. But, my childhood was great, being out there in Jersey. I went to Catholic school to start. It was me and my sister. We actually, we shared a bedroom growing up, and half of it was blue and half of it was pink.
It'd be like that.
Yeah, so... but like my sister was like my best friend growing up. We went to Catholic school, so like it was different because when I lived in Jersey, you go to Catholic school like that, and then you come home, so you don't really get those relationships outside of school that you normally do.
Yeah.
So like me and my sister, like that was really all I had for real. And then like the occasional, trips like my godmother's house on the weekend, go hang out with my cousins and whatnot outside of school. But I had friends that play on the playground with and do all that other stuff, but. Growing up, like I said, like I had everything that I needed, so I couldn't really complain.
Did you start to play sports at that time when you were in Jersey? Because you moved out here when you were 8, right?
Yeah, I moved out here in like the 3rd grade, yeah.
Okay, so prior to that, did you play any sports before?
Like I did, like I would play at recess and whatnot, but like it wasn't like real organized sports, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like I'd go to the park with my dad, like kick a soccer ball around, do all that stuff. Like, my babysitter, she'd take us to the park, we'd run around and whatnot. But like, I don't think I really played real organized sports until I came here. Like I might have played on like the like the basketball team at like the
I
YMCA
get
or
it,
something
yeah,
like
but
that. You know
nothing
what I'm
real,
saying?
not
But
for
nothing
school.
like nothing for like a school or like a real league or organization for real.
So how did you get introduced to the game? Like I know you started playing when you got out here, but like how did that all unfold?
Yeah, so I started off as, I mean, my parents being from Africa, like obviously soccer's big, like soccer's the world's game, you know what I'm saying? So I started off playing soccer, you know, I love soccer. And then
Bro, hold on. If you were to become a soccer, I could never imagine you playing soccer. Like the way you look physically,
Yeah.
that would be crazy.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I didn't always look like this. Like, I
That's
was
real.
kind of like a slimmer build. Like, I still had big calves and whatnot, but I was
Right.
a slimmer build. So, like, I really think that if I would have just continued to play soccer, like, I wouldn't have been lifting as much.
Right, that's
Wouldn't have been
real.
eating as much. Like, I would have probably just stayed the same. I probably would have gotten a little bigger, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I still would have just been
Body
built.
type would be
Yeah, it would have
different.
been different. But so I started off playing soccer, and then when I moved out here, you know, my dad signed me up for, you know, travel soccer. You know, I started doing that, but I didn't really get into football. Like, I knew what football was, obviously. You know, you see it on TV and all that other
sure.
stuff, but I never really, like, grew up around the game like some of my friends did. Like they had parents that played or, you know, cousins or whatever, uncles that played football. So, like, they were in it from, like, the moment they were born. That wasn't the case for me. So I moved into the neighborhood that I live in now, and it was like everybody on the street played football. Like,
Wow.
and it was either you played for Lower Mac or Emmaus, you know? So when the time came, like, kids just being kids, like, you know, we're going to school, getting off the bus, and, like, you know, we're not even going home. Like, we're going to somebody's backyard to play backyard football. And then, like, on the weekends, they're coming and knocking on my door, like, yo, like, can he come out and play, this, that, whatever.
Right.
And, like, all this was new to my parents because, like, we didn't, like I said, I didn't have
Right.
this when I was in Jersey. So at first, you know, it was kind of like a new concept that they had to understand. But, you know, I started off playing backyard football with my kids on my street, and then they were like, "Oh, like you're really fast, this, that. Like you should sign up to play youth." I was like, "All right." I kind of like brought the idea to my parents, and like my mom's a nurse, so like the idea of football
She's
just
like,
she was not like she was not happy about it. So like she let me play obviously.
Yeah.
But
How
like,
was Pops about it though? How was Pops feeling about it? Because this, you got to think about it. You got your parents are from Africa.
Yeah.
All they know is soccer.
Yep.
Nobody in Africa plays football, so it's like
Nah.
for them to even understand like that concept, it's got to throw them like it's got to be like for them it's got to be like this is coming from left field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, how was that initial conversation?
I mean, I don't really remember how it went,
It is
but I
early.
think it was probably more so just something about like I know that it's dangerous, this, that. Like,
sure.
I'm willing to take that risk. Like, and for me, like, it was just a way for me to just make friends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
that's
I was
real.
like, this is what everybody in the neighborhood's doing. Like, all my friends at school, like, you see them wearing their jerseys to school. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So, like, I was like, this is a way for me to make friends. So I think when I put it like that, they were like, all right, like you can do this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, they signed me up. And, I mean, kind of like what we talked about yesterday, but everything comes with a condition with my dad. So it was like, if you're gonna play football, like your grades got to be in check.
For
like,
sure.
all that stuff's you can't let any of that stuff drop, you know? So, and that was the deal that I made, and yeah, the rest is history.
That's real. I relate a little bit in a sense where like when I first tried to play football, my mom, she's Dominican, I'm first generation out here too, and she's like, she was not going for that. She's
Yeah.
like, nah, we're not doing that. I ended up telling her I need a physical because of school, and just signing myself up and telling her like, yo, my first game is this day, just come.
Yeah.
And she ended up watching me play. Was like, all right, you know what? If you want to play that bad, go ahead. And then I played up until that
Yeah,
point.
see, that was the
But
thing. That was the difference. Like my mom, she wasn't coming to no games though.
yeah, my mom's only been to 3 games, and I played since I was in 7th grade. I didn't get to play youth because my mom wouldn't sign me up,
Yeah.
right? But my mom came to 1 middle school game, 1 high school game, and 1 college game.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
it's just like, but you almost don't like, you get used to it, so you don't
Yeah.
really care. Like, you know
Yeah.
how people be like, yo, you don't get like mad at your parents are not going, but it's like,
it's
bro,
like nah, not for real.
yeah,
Like,
you know what it does though, Sonny? I don't know if you realize this, but like, you realize that like you can work really hard and you don't need anybody clapping for you.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need that. Like,
Well, I think for me that was kind of how it was for me when I was growing up, because it was like my parents are watching me play, but they don't even know what's going on.
that's
So
real.
like
That's
they're not
real.
like
That's
they're not
real.
they don't know like they can't really push me because they don't know how this whole thing works.
Right.
So
Man,
like
that's so
everything
real.
that I was doing when I was growing up like was kind of just on my own. Like
Right.
obviously you have your coaches that push you, but like when I started getting older and older, and like I started realizing this is what I really wanted to do, like Like, I didn't have my dad being like, yo, let's go to the field and do this.
Yep.
Or like, oh, let's go to the weight room and do this. Like, I didn't have that. So it was all on me.
Right.
So everything that I did, like training-wise, extra work, all that, like that all just came
It was
from
up
myself.
to you, where
like,
you tried to find the trainers and all, like that that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think there's a pro to that though. You know what I
sure,
mean? Like
100%.
you don't need.
I didn't need anybody.
You don't need that, bro.
Yeah.
Which is like it like it makes you built different.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Which leads me to my next question, right? You were arguably one of the best running backs to ever come out of Emmaus, right? But before you came, I played against Cal Boney. That was 2016. Great running back, 2,000-yard rusher. Andy Davidson, right, was his last name?
Yeah.
Davidson was great. He was a great linebacker. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie. I got hit by him a couple times. Savage. But what was the mindset going in your sophomore year, having to replace 2 back-to-back 2,000-yard rushers?
Well, I mean, for me, it was like, obviously, like, we had guys that were returning and whatnot, but, like, obviously coming off of 2,000-yard rushers back-to-back, like, the big story was, like, who's going to replace Kyle Boney in the Emmaus backfield, this, that, and the third. So, I mean, my expectation coming in as a sophomore was, like, I don't really know what to expect. Like, there was 2 older guys that were ahead of me at the time, and my other running mate, Lubens, who I ended up splitting time with. So coming into the offseason, like, one, we got a new head coach, Coach Fairclaw. Like, that's my dog. Like, one of the best humans I've ever met. Like, one of my favorite coaches of all time. He came in, you know, we were working out the whole offseason, and I didn't really know how things were going to go. Like, I knew there were some older guys on the team that were proven, you know, that had played a little bit. But for the rest of us, it was kind of like we just got to work our tails off. Like, I was 14 at the time. Like, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm going to be the starter day one.
Right.
So, I mean, we went through the winter. You know, I got bigger, got stronger, got faster. And then, you know, we obviously did the summer workouts and, you know, 7-on-7 and whatnot. And, you know, the thing that he always told us younger guys was, like, your goal should be that, like, you need to make it hard for me to keep you off the field. Like, whether it be with special teams or even if it's a couple plays a game, like, that should be your goal, like, as a young guy coming up through this program. So I kind of just took that to heart, and I was like, all right, like, whatever it is, I'm going to try and find my way onto this team, whether it's returning kicks or, you know, playing corner or playing outside linebacker, whatever it's got to be. Like, that's what I'm going to do. So the 2 guys that were older, they ended up leaving. One ended up quitting, I'm pretty sure, and the other one transferred. So we're going into this season, and, you know, he kind of looked at me and my guy Lubens, and he was like, listen, like, it's on y'all. Like, I got full faith in y'all. Like, I have the confidence that you guys are going to be able to get this done. Like, it's time for you guys to grow up, like, plain and simple.
Kept
like,
it real.
Just threw us right into the fire. And I feel like my confidence with football stems from that. Because, like, here's a 14-year-old kid coming into this backfield where you just had 2,000-yard rushers back-to-back, and you're basically saying, like, all right, like, I'm handing this to 2 sophomores. Like go run, have at it. He could have easily been like, oh, I'm going to just go with the next older guy that we have in the room. But he was like, nah, like, these are the 2 most talented kids. Like, I don't care how old they are, what class they're in. Like, if they can play, they can play. So, like, my confidence just stems solely from that. And then the rest of it, like, the rest of my time at Emmaus was just history because, you know, he believed in me from the jump. So
then from your sophomore year to, I think, your junior year, you said you put on 50 pounds of muscle, like, basically 50 pounds of weight, muscle, basically.
Yeah, I went from, like, I think my freshman season, I was probably right around, like, 155. And then going into, like, end of sophomore year, junior year, I was probably, like, 205, 210.
Sheesh.
Like,
at what point did you know, like, yeah, I'm like that? Like, I can play this game? Because, like, sophomore year going in, like, before you play your first game, you really don't know. Like, you're like,
I'm just happy to be there, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm about to play with the big boys now.
Yeah.
It's about to get real.
I think I realized, I honestly want to say, like, towards the end of that season, like, I was like, all right, like, this isn't just, like, some fluke stuff that's going on. Like, I really...
This is your sophomore year?
Yeah. Like, I really deserve to be here. And I remember it wasn't until... It was actually... We played Freedom at home, right? We played... Joe was the quarterback.
Oh, it's 2017 then.
It's 2016.
2016?
Yeah, 2016. Joe was the quarterback. And then they had Deshaun Peterson, Alec Huertas. Like, they had all those guys. Brady Hornbaker was still there.
Oh, that was a good... I think they played in the district chip that year.
They did. Yeah, they played Parkland at I think at Jay Burney.
Yeah, they lost that. Yep, I remember that.
So we played them at home, and I think I had like 100. I want to say it was like in 3 quarters or something like that, and then we ended up winning that game. And I just remember like Joe coming up to me after the game, and he was like, "Yo, how old are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm 14." And he was like, "Nah, bro, like
nice.
You're gonna be one of them." Like, and I think that like getting that love from somebody like him who's was doing it at such a high level at the time, like that's kind of when I realized, okay, like if I'm getting the respect from my peers on other teams, like that's when I was like, you know what, like I deserve to be here. And then from there, like I already kind of had confidence towards the end of that season, but like once the whole season wrapped up, I was like, yeah, like, I got to just keep upping the standard for myself, you know, not only for myself, but for the guys that I'm playing with.
Yo, when you get that recognition from an older guy, when you're a younger guy like that does something to your confidence. Like you just mentioned, like it's like you're almost being like solidified. Like, all right, like I gotta be like that.
Like they're co-signing you, like they're stamping you. Like that was it was a cool thing, and like then me and Joe ended up being teammates.
Shout out to Joe, man. That's my guy.
We ended up being teammates, you know, years later at Harvard together. But like it was a full circle moment for him to, you know, kind of stamp me and co-sign me right then, and then, you know, end up
being teammates.
Yeah,
bro.
like I remember going on my official visit and like he's there like hosting me and whatnot.
Like putting you on game and everything. Yeah, that's fire.
But yeah, I mean, everything that like that was probably the first time that I got the recognition from like one of my peers, like in conference. And then I think that when I really realized that, you know, I was up there with some of the guys that I was playing against was probably my junior year.
Okay.
Like I think there was one game, I think we played Nazareth, and I think I went for like 204.
Sheesh.
So I was like, okay, like now it's starting to get to that point where it's like, yeah, like I'm not just doing it, like I'm doing it big, like, you know what I'm saying? So and then I just kept trying to, like I said, just upping the standard for myself, always trying to get better, find new ways to add stuff to my game, whether it's defensively, offensively, and then obviously just trying to do whatever was going to help the team, you know, win games.
And obviously it worked, right? Like you finished your career with 3,000 yards, 46 touchdowns. You led Emmaus to their first district championship. Talk about like what that senior season was like.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that sophomore year that we had, man, like that senior year was probably like the most fun that I've had playing football. Like just the atmosphere that, you know, we had at Emmaus and the team camaraderie that we built, you know, from start to finish in that season, like just made every single moment of it memorable. And it's like, you know, we talked about this yesterday, like it was the little things that I missed the most about that year, you know, like the time in the locker room, you know, going to wing night with like 30, 40 guys. And it wasn't even just the guys that were playing, it's guys that are helping us out on scout that are showing up.
That's
and
real.
Like, you know, we have a damn near an entire room to ourselves and we're all out there just laughing and eating and just having a good time with one another. Like those are the things that I miss, and those are the things that made our team so successful in the long run. Because it's like everybody on that team understood their role and understood like, okay, like I'm playing scout, but I'm playing scout to make him better, make his job on Friday night that much easier. You know what I'm saying? So top to bottom, everybody played their role. Nobody was selfish. Everybody wanted to see everybody eat. So when it came time and the lights were on, like, you know, we shined and we pulled out all the close games because, like, I could look to the guy at my left and be like, I trust that he's going to make this play when we need him to make it the most. But, I mean, the biggest thing about that year was just, like, we pulled out so many close games. And, like, I think that was just a testament to, like, the leadership that we had from the senior class. Like, you know, obviously we had a great year my sophomore year. You know, we went 10-2, won our first, like, outright conference championship in, like, I think it was, like, 30-something years.
Wow.
And then, you know, we had a down year my junior year. We ended up going 6-5, I think. And, you know, we lost every game by, like, one score outside of the Parkland game that we played. And, like, you know, the guys in my class after that junior season ended, like, we kind of had a bad taste in our mouth that we were kind of just sick to our stomachs. We're like, nah, like 2016 laid the blueprint for how this is supposed to go, you know, like, and my junior year, like, we didn't follow that. So, like, I remember right when we lost to Freedom in the district playoffs, my junior year, like, me and my buddy Nick, we're packing up, you know, heading out to the car to, you know, go do whatever. And, like, we were kind of like, yeah, like next year is going to be different. Like we're going back to that 2016 way of doing things. Like we're bringing everybody along, like making sure everybody's bought in, but like we're going to make sure that everybody understands their role in this overall process because like we're going to try and get to somewhere we've never been before.
That's fire, bro. I mean, there's when a team is like player led, when like people really start to take initiative and the seniors are actually leading and bringing those younger sophomore kids under their wing and stuff like that, you see it shows up in the games, bro. And you got to experience it.
Yeah,
you know
and like
I mean?
Fairclaw always told us he was like the good teams like police themselves. Like,
Yeah,
the good
bro.
teams lead themselves. Like
Here's the thing, because it's like you could lie to a coach.
Yeah.
You can cap. You could tell them like, you know, whatever the case may be. But when it's you that sees me every single day, you see me outside of practice, you see me outside the weight room, you can't lie to me.
Yeah.
Because I know you for real.
Exactly.
So it's like, but when you hold somebody to that standard and you're with them all the time, it's just different.
Well, and that was the thing too. It was like everybody that played on that senior year team, like we all grew up playing football together.
Oh, that's tough.
Like everybody either played for like I'm talking like Lower Mag versus MA. It's like our last year playing youth, like we were playing the same kids that we were lining up on Friday nights with. Like, so everybody that was on that team that played and really contributed had been playing together since they were in like the 3rd or 4th grade. So like it just all came full circle. And like going back to like the policing yourself thing, it was like once you can take the emotions out of it and like you can really sit back and understand that like, yo, he's not yelling at me because like he just wants to be like, you know, big, like, you know, the big macho man, like he's yelling at me because he understands like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do up to the standard of how it needs to get done. Like that's when you really see things change. Like I could see my friend miss a play or something like that I know he can make, and I can go and scream at him right then and there and it's over. He's like, you know what, I got you on the next one. And then he's going to make that next play. Or like something will happen on the field and we come off and like Fairclough doesn't even have to come and yell at somebody. Like I'm doing it. Or my buddy's yelling at me. He's getting on me. He's picking me up. It's over right then and there. I can't even really remember. I could probably count on one hand the amount of times that he's really gotten on us and screamed at us on his own because we really took care of each other like that. Like,
damn, that's different. It's rare, you know, because like a lot of kids these days like don't want to confront their friends on things because it's their boys. You know what I mean? So they feel uncomfortable and then like, yeah, they're just scared. At the end of the day, it's the fear, right?
And I think that us being friends for so long outside of football like made it that much easier. You know what I'm saying?
You guys were so comfortable with one another. It was just like I could talk.
It was I can yell at him and know that he's like, even if he gets mad at me, like he knows that I'm coming from a good place because like that's really my dog.
For real.
Like that's my brother for real. Like, and so that's really what I think separated us from the year prior and how we got back to the way we were doing things and like we did in 2016. Super
tough. So you end up finishing the season, I think, with 15 plus offers, right? I don't know, somewhere from 15 to 20. What made you decide to go to Harvard? Like, what made that appealing over all the other schools that you decided to go to?
Yeah, so when I first started, like when recruiting for me started as a sophomore. Like after that sophomore season, you know, I got my first offer. It was from Army, which was obviously really cool. You know, FBS team. I mean, they were in the triple option and whatnot, but it was, you know, first offer, like, that's a blessing regardless of where it's from.
Crazy experience.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Wow, school really wants me.
Yeah, like, I went to their spring game. Andy was there. I saw Andy. We talked for a little bit, like, and then they offered me, like, right then and there. So that was awesome. Like, it was crazy, surreal experience. Now, did I think I was going to go there? No, you know, but it was still cool, you know, just to see everything that I've been working towards, like that, have that part of the process finally start.
For sure.
And then after my junior year, that's when things really started to pick up. I got like a lot of the Patriot League schools, some CAA schools. That was like right after the season. And then the Ivy League schools started coming that spring, the spring going into my senior year. But I mean, I just remember Coach Fairclaw, we had a meeting. I forget when it was. I think it was like my sophomore year, sometime either after my sophomore year, before my junior season. And he was kind of asking me, like, oh, what do you want to do? Like, you know, like, what do you want to do with this football thing? And I was like, oh, I want to go to college and play football. He's like, oh, like, all right, like, name some schools. Like, where do you want to go? And I was like, oh, like, I'd be cool, like, you know, going to, like, a Rutgers or something, like, you know, nice Big Ten team. It's close to home, like, you know. And he was kind of just like, nah, like, I don't really see that. And I'm just like, huh? Like, He's like, nah, like for you, he's like, knowing how much your parents have instilled, how much academics mean to you, and like how much academics mean to them. Like, he's like, I see you going to like Ivy League school, like playing Ivy League football, and I'm just like, what?
Right.
Like, I'm like a 15, 16-year-old kid, and he's telling me that he thinks I'm gonna go play at like Harvard or Penn or something. I'm like, nah, like,
Right.
I'm like, I have good grades, but like I don't have that. Like, I don't have the 4.0, 4.1, 4.2. I don't have that.
Right.
So I mean, to see that all come full circle was kind of crazy, and I think that once those Ivy League schools came, I think I just realized that like I'm not gonna get a better opportunity than this. You know, like not to say that all the other schools that offered me weren't great schools, like Lehigh, Lafayette, Bucknell, like Holy Cross, those are all great schools as well. But like, you know, when you talk about like some of the best in the world, like it's hard to pass that up.
Facts.
So Harvard was actually the last school to offer me. I had like Columbia, Yale, Dartmouth, Princeton. I think those were the 4 others that I got out of the league. Harvard was the last school to offer me. I went to camp up there. You know, I went on a visit first. Then obviously, you know, summer starts and you know you start having camps and whatnot. I went to the camp there. And then, yeah, like I kind of just, they offered me at the camp and, you know, I had a feeling that that's where I needed to be. So I ended up committing like probably like 2 days later.
Oh, wow. It was that fast?
It was quick because, I mean, like I was so, because the thing about recruiting that kind of sucks is like when you get all those offers, like you can't go to all those schools. So you're gonna stretch yourself out. Like you're gonna, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna burn yourself out with recruiting. So you kind of have to like get the ones that you get, take your time, see, okay, like, am I really gonna go here? Nah.
Right.
Like, am I gonna go here? No. Like, you know, you take the visits when you can if it meets your schedule. You know. So I went to like Lafayette. I went to Bucknell.
Princeton too, right?
I went to Princeton. I went to Lehigh. And I think I went to a couple others. But that was it. And then I didn't go to any of the other Ivies besides Princeton. I went to Princeton camp and Harvard camp, and I was kind of like, all right, these are the 2 that I'm deciding between. So obviously I went to Princeton camp, saw the campus, all that other stuff, and then I went to Harvard again, saw the campus, went to camp, and you know I came back from that visit, and I just remember like, okay, like it's down to these 2, and I knew I wanted to commit before my senior season, just get it out of the way. And I just remember, like, I came home, and I'm, like, sitting in my room, like, I'm, like, making the biggest decision of my life.
Right.
You know, I wasn't really talking or nothing. Like, I wasn't really talking to my parents. You know, I was just so in my own thoughts. Like, damn, like, because you try and play out every scenario, but it's one of those things where it's, like, you're never going to know if it's the right choice until you get there and you're in it.
Right.
And I remember my mom, like, called my sister, and she was like, you need to check on him, like he's not speaking, like I hope he's okay, like, and my sister's like, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm making a big life choice right now, like, you know, like for the first time in my life, I gotta make a big boy decision.
That's real.
So yeah, I remember when I finally was like, you know what, like I just gotta go with my gut, with whatever feels right. And I remember I called, I told my parents, you know, first I called Coach Murphy, the head coach at the time. And after I got off that phone call, like I just lost, like I just cried, like, because it was like everything that I had done up until that point, like, just came and just flashed back before my eyes, like all the early mornings, going to the gym twice, like all the extra sprints, doing stuff on my own, like all that stuff just hit me. And it's like, this is why you do all that stuff, to be able to put yourself in position like this.
Sheesh.
And then I called Coach Fairclaw, and like we kind of laughed about it, and I was like, you were right. Like, it came full circle. Like, you said it when I was a sophomore, and now we're here, like, you know. And obviously my parents were really happy for me, you know, like my dad was like, all them times that, you know, I got on you and, you know, we butt heads and all that other stuff, it was for this moment. Like, I wasn't even gonna let you get the chance to mess something like this up, like, you know what I'm saying? So it was crazy. It was a crazy time.
You finally got to see like the reward of all the effort you put in. You know what I mean? All the sacrifice you made. It's like, oh wow, like this is my payback. Like, I'm gonna be able to go to one of the best schools in the entire nation. Like, which is crazy to say that, right? So you get to campus day one, bro. Like you're at Harvard. Like
Yeah.
Barack Obama's daughter's
Yep.
at school while you're there.
Yep.
Like just think about that, right?
Yeah.
What was that mindset like? What was that feeling like walking through campus the first time? Like you're officially there.
Yes.
Like what was that experience like?
I think it was crazy because like everything that I've known about Harvard was just stuff that like I'd seen in movies and heard about, like, and we talked about this, like, to outside people, like Harvard is like some like mystical, like
It's different.
it's like a place that like when you hear that name you're kind of like you don't really know what to think because like people don't really know what goes on there.
Right.
It's almost like outside of like reality. It feels like it's almost like outside of reality, you know? But I mean, just being there was kind of crazy because it was like you said, it's like Barack Obama's daughter's there, like there are former presidents that are there, like there are like so many rich people that like, oh, like my dad's so and so, and exactly, like, and it's like for me, it was kind of like a culture shock because it was like there's not too many kids walking around that campus that are enrolled that went to a public school that have 4,000 kids.
Wow.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they all come from like private schools, charter schools, all this other stuff, or like small schools,
or even
like,
came from a similar upbringing than you did.
Yeah.
So like their mindset might be a little bit different. They might think a little bit different. They may see the world completely different. Not to say everybody's like that, but like there's
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
So I mean, it was definitely at first it was kind of like, wow, like there's people that, you know, like their parents have money, people whose parents don't have money, people that are from this country that like their whole perception of life and the world is completely different than mine because they live halfway across the world,
Wow.
like, in a different hemisphere, like, so all that stuff was cool, but like I think that's what made Harvard so special was like you never know who you're gonna run into, and like everybody that's on that campus is there for a reason. It might be because, you know, your dad's an alumni. It might be because you have a crazy story that got you there and you persevered to get there.
Right.
Like it might be because you're an absolute genius. Like it doesn't matter. But like the only thing that matters is that you're there right now and you have the opportunity to learn at the best institution in the world and have access to that network and connect with the people that are around you 24/7.
For sure. Super fire. So now you get there, you're like, you're in all of basically like the people that you're meeting, people from different places in the world and whatnot. Like, talk about the football experience now. Like, what it was like when you got there and then kind of what it turned into over time when you were playing there.
Yeah, so I got there, I came in, you know, obviously I'm a person that like I set high expectations for myself. So, you know, I had always been the type that I get to reap the fruits of my labor. Like that's always how it's been. Like the work that I put in, I always got to see the reward from it. So coming in, I was like, I'm not gonna change anything. I'm just gonna work my tail off and, you know, whatever happens, happens. And I was one of the lucky ones where, you know, there was only one proven guy in the room at the time when I came in, my boy Dev, and, you know, that RB2 spot was basically up for grabs. And we had some injuries in the room during camp, so me and my boy AB, the other freshman that I came in with, like we got the opportunity to get a lot of reps as freshmen. But when it came time for the season to start, they only traveled 4 running backs. We had 5 in the room. So they took Dev, my boy AB, my boy Danny, and D-Mark. Dev and AB primarily played running back, and then at the time, Danny and D-Mark were traveling for special teams. So I was the one that got left out. I mean, in the moment, you know, you feel sorry for yourself, you know, for the first time ever, like, you know, you kind of got to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, oh, like maybe I'm not who I think I am with this football stuff. Like, it's the first time, like, you put in all this work and, like, you know, you're not getting rewarded for it, so to say. So, yeah, that was tough. Like, as a freshman, like, you know, you're away from home, you know, you're figuring out everything with school, you know, you're spending all this time with football, and, like, now it's, like, first game, you know, you're sitting at home, not traveling, you know, watching your teammates play on TV.
It's crazy.
You know? And it hurt. Like, it really hurt. It really hurt me. And, you know, I remember, like, talking to my parents and talking to my friends, and I'm just like, like, I don't know what it is. Like, it was just such a tough time. And it was probably just a culmination of everything, you know, like just assimilating to school, you know, all that other stuff. as well as the football. But, looking back on it, I'm glad that I went through that. Like it taught me, like, you know what, like there are going to be times where you just got to put your pride aside and, you made a commitment that you were going to show up and give your all regardless of what happens with you. And like you can't feel sorry for yourself in those situations. Like you owe it to your teammates to give them the best look on scout team and to go out there every day and try and improve. You also just owe it to yourself, Like that's the commitment you make when you decide to sign up and I'm going to be a Division I athlete. So yeah, I mean, freshman season, we didn't have a great year as a team. I'm pretty sure we went 4-6, but we lost a lot of close games. Like we lost to Dartmouth on a Hail Mary, which was insane.
Wow.
Like I remember going into the locker room and getting the da-da-da, like ESPN notification.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, so this is what college football is like. You know what I'm saying? And then like going to the Yale game freshman year, seeing what that atmosphere was like was really cool. All of that stuff was just awesome. And then like I just remember when the whole thing was over and I came home for winter break, I was just talking to people that were close to me and whatnot, and they were kind of asking me. And the consensus was kind of like, oh, you're a freshman, you're not really supposed to play. But like that's not the standard that I hold myself to. You know, like I didn't feel like that. I was like, why can't I be the freshman that plays? Like why can't I be one of the freshmen that travels? Like that's how I wanted it to go.
Right.
But it didn't go like that. But I feel like that's the biggest thing about time. Like time just brings perspective. Like
for sure.
And like looking back on it, I was like, you know what? Like I showed up every day. I made it through my freshman season. I'm healthy. I don't really have any major injuries, and it's only up from here. Like, there's only room for improvement. Like, it's not like I quit or I was, like logging around, lumping around during practice, not giving it my all. Like, I still showed up every day and gave what I had. So I knew that was going to pay off in the long run. So then winter break shows up. I started working out with Ahmad at 5 a.m. out in Bethlehem.
The ice rink.
Nah, not even. It was the
Or was it Union?
No, it was the St. Luke's.
Oh, the fitness center, the Bethlehem Fitness Center.
Yeah, like in the basement. Yes.
Yep.
Like, that
the
was
meat locker. Shout out to Ahmad, man.
Yeah. So I started working out there for the first time.
And Bobby too.
Yeah.
Bobby was in there.
Yeah, the juice in there was crazy.
Yeah, I bet.
But that was the environment that I felt like I needed. To be around guys that, were doing exactly what I'm doing. Tristan, Caden Moore, like even guys that were playing different sports, like we're all going through the same thing. Like we're all trying to find our way and make our way and just get better. And then obviously I went back freshman year, we had winter workouts. And then like I want to say like the first week of March, we got the COVID news that like we're getting sent home. And at the time, just like everybody else, we're like, oh, it'll be a nice little 2-3 week break. We'll
everybody
be back.
Excited for it. Yeah, everybody. We don't gotta do no work.
I remember. Literally, I just remember freshman year when we got the news. Like there's finals clubs and stuff on Harvard's campus. If you've seen like the social network, you know what those are. They all just dropped everything and threw parties. Like. I'm talking like it was like instant. It was like, oh, we're going home, party. Like liquor stores cleared out, like all that stuff. Like it was crazy.
I think I remember seeing like Joe's story, Evan Callahan's story. They were
partying already. Yeah, exactly. And it's like 10 a.m. Like we had just finished up workouts and treatment, and like there's parties going on already.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got sent home, and we all thought we were gonna be home for like at least till the summer and then come back in the fall and have camp and have a season. But like the Ivy League was like, nah, like it's done. And then, being away from the game, like I feel like if anything, it kind of lit that fire in me and made it even stronger because it's like, damn, like the game just got taken away from you. Like how much do you really love playing football? And it went from like, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that I didn't play or didn't travel. I was like, I just miss being out there at practice, putting the pads on, putting the helmet on, being in the locker room with my guys.
Right.
And that's when I got the perspective of like you're truly blessed to be in this scenario regardless of whether you play or not. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, it was like, and I love this quote, Inky Johnson says it all the time, it's like, can you be committed to the process without being attached to the reward? And in that time when I wasn't playing football, that's when I really found out like, regardless of what happens, like I'm still gonna show up and just go to work. And that's when we started going to the ice rink and going to Union, 5 a.m., 5:30, 6. Like, I'm up before the sun's even coming up, driving there. You know, I don't have my own car. I'm taking my mom's car, driving there, coming back. Like, she's waiting for me with her work stuff, like, getting ready to get out the house. And it's literally like, I get out the car, she gets in, and she's going. And that was the sacrifice that I had to make to be able to train. And then we come back after COVID. Like, I'm in great shape. I feel amazing because I just basically trained for a year and a half straight. And my boy Champ comes back. He was on, like, a leave of absence my freshman year, so he comes back. My boy AB was already proven as one of the guys. Like, he won Ivy League Rookie of the Year my freshman year. Broke all, like, the Yale game rushing records and all that stuff. And again, I'm back in this scenario where it's like, all right, it's a 2 RB system. Like, you're probably not going to play. But the silver lining was like, all right, like, I got to travel now. Like, now I'm on the bus. I'm on the planes wherever we're going. I get to be there with the guys. Like, I'm playing special teams. I get to contribute in some regard. Now, of course, I wish I was out there playing running back, scoring touchdowns. But at the same time, it's like I said, like, at the end of the day, like, that didn't really matter to me anymore. Like, it was just about the process and just staying committed to what I had been doing and what had got me to that point that kept me going. And then senior year comes around, and again, I'm like, you know what? It's finally my time. Champ declares for the draft. AB we're going into our last year together. I had a great spring ball. I got, like, most improved in the running back room by my coaches. Then we go into camp. And, you know, I had a good camp, you know, like, it was just an extension of spring ball for me. It's like the momentum I had after the spring, I'm going to take that into going home and working out, and then I'm going to take that into fall camp. And we get to the first game, we played Merrimack, and it was a close one. You know, we thought we were going to beat the brakes off them, but they ended up coming into our house and punching us in the mouth a little bit and made it closer than we thought it was going to be. But I ended up only playing, like, 3 snaps in that game. So, like, I was kind of like, damn, like, you know, I was like, well, like, this is my last year. Like, this the icing on the cake. Like, I'm like, hopefully this doesn't last forever, you know. But as the season went on, I started playing a little bit more, you know. I had some games where I had, like, 45, 50 yards, 30 yards, whatever, which as, like, an RB2, like, it's solid, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can only get the ball so many times when you have a guy that's proven like that in front of you. But then, like, the injuries started to happen. Like, we played Holy Cross. I, like, fractured my pinky. So they made me sit for 2 weeks for that. I missed 2 games. Then we come back. We play Princeton. I think I averaged, like, 6 yards a carry in that game, which was pretty good. And then, but I, like, messed up my shoulder. I fell on my shoulder wrong, so I'm dealing with that. And then we go to Penn. I tear my UCL in my thumb, second to last game of the year. And I'm like, well, yeah, this is just the icing on the cake, like, you know what I'm saying, for my college career. But, you know, obviously with COVID and everything, we got the extra year. So I kind of knew, like, okay, when this is all said and done, like, obviously, like, I didn't have the career that I wanted. Like, and it's no secret. You could look up my stats. Like, I had probably 400 yards and 3 touchdowns in my 3 seasons. I was just praying that in the portal somebody was going to take a chance on me and let me play.
I was going to ask you that, like, what made you decide, like, hey, I'm still going to do this football thing, right? Like, you got your 4-year degree at Harvard. I know you still have 2 more years of eligibility, right? But it's like, what makes you decide, like, all right, I want to go to Monmouth, right? And then second, what makes you decide that you still want to continue to move forward and play this game?
I think for me, it was just like looking back on how my career went there, like, I just didn't feel, like, I couldn't look at that body of work and, like, be okay with my name being attached to that. Like, that's not the standard that I hold myself to. Now, there are a lot of things that are out of my control.
For sure.
That played into why I had the career that I had. And, like, I'm not blind to that. Like, I know that's how things work sometimes. But I was like, it just left such a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, nah, this isn't me. Like, and then it was also the fact that it was like, you know what, like, if you have the opportunity to keep playing, like, why not keep playing?
That's real.
Because it's like, football is one of the only games that, like, when it's over, like, it's over.
Done.
Like, you're not going and playing rec league football with
Some
helmets.
people will, but you're wildin'.
Yeah, like, you know, you see the little 37U leagues
Yo,
and the guys
just
playing
see
that
that
part. Like, you see those, like I'm not gonna lie, like, at that point, you're better off just not even playing. Like, so it's like, but yeah, so like, I was like, if I had the opportunity to keep playing, like I'm gonna try and keep playing, you know? Like, I'd rather enter the portal and at least try and then be denied and be like, you know what, at least I tried.
For sure.
Than just completely walk away and be the guy that was like, damn, like, what if I would have just used those extra 2 years?
Right. You
Like,
didn't want to have like that second thought, like what could have happened?
Exactly.
Like, what if?
It's like, what if I went here and I, you know, broke a school record like I did, or rushed for 2,000 yards or whatever. Like I didn't want that to be the case. Like, I didn't want to leave it up to a what if.
What
like,
made you decide to go to Monmouth? Like, what made it make sense to you at the time?
So I hopped in the portal. You know, I got a lot of like D2 interest and, you know, D3 interest. And what I did essentially was I made my film. I typed up a message like in my notes. It's like, hey, like so-and-so, like literally would type out like insert coach's name here, blah, blah, whatever. Type this message like, I'm a 2023 spring grad from Harvard University, like this is that, like I'm looking for an opportunity to continue my playing career. I have 2 years of eligibility left. Like, attached below is my film and my running back coach's phone number. Like, I went through every single coach that still followed me on Twitter from high school and DM'd them that message because I knew they would get it because they followed me. So I did that first, and then I also went through literally, like, I wish I had my Harvard email. Like, I wish I still had access to it because I would show you. I went through every conference, every team, and went to their, like, staff directory. And if they had an email, I literally was just, like, click, copy, paste, click, copy, paste. And I would do that for, like, an hour a day. Like, I would go through, like, an entire conference and just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, like, and just email all the coaches, hoping that somebody would see it and answer me. So one of the only coaches that got back to me on Twitter was Coach K-Cal, who's the receivers coach at Monmouth. And he was at Lafayette when I was in high school. So he was recruiting me at Lafayette, and we had a great relationship. Like, he went to Amherst. My sister went to Amherst. So they had that going. Like, and obviously I was a Valley guy, so he was trying to get me to go there and stay home. And then he ended up leaving there and going to Monmouth. So I DM'd him, and he responded, like, right away. And he was like, yo, we can hop on a phone call. Like, he calls me, and he's like, listen, like, this is the situation we have. We do this thing on offense. We have this package that I think you'd be great for, but I'm not going to sit here and guarantee it to you right now. He's like, we're going to look in the portal. If we don't find somebody that we think is better than you, then we're going to go to the high schoolers. If there's no, like, high schooler that we think can develop into this role, then we're going to come back and then we'll assess, you know, what's going on. So I'm like, all right, like, sounds good. You know, like, all I could, like, just the fact that he was considering me was.
And honestly, the fact that he was being honest.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, that's real.
And that's the thing, like, the relationship that we had going back to when he was at Lafayette was very similar. Like, he was a genuine, honest guy. Like, and like, when it came time for me to commit, like, telling all those coaches that I wasn't going, like, I think telling him was probably the hardest because like, he was so genuine about, you know, the recruiting process and everything like that. So, and it's funny because my buddy Jake Brown at the time, who I went to Harvard with, had just committed to Monmouth. So he was going there in the spring. Like, he was one of Joe's roommates. So I remember it was like right before we left for winter break, like, Jake's like, yeah, I'm going to Monmouth, this, that, whatever. I was like, oh, I just talked to Coach KK. He's like, yeah, like, you got to try and get there. Like I think I know what they do because he had a friend that he grew up with that played at Monmouth, so he knew about the whole package that they had. So he's like, if you get there, like, you'd be perfect for that. So I go on winter break. I set up a visit. I go, like, the first day of their spring semester, like, I take a visit. So Jake shows me around the dorms. We go out to eat, all that other stuff, and then I go with Coach K-Cal and, like, see the school and the facilities. We watch some film, talk to the OC, talk to his dad, Coach Callahan, the head coach, and then I kind of just got sent on my way. And I left that meeting with them being like, listen, like, we don't really have a running backs coach right now. We kind of want to get that squared away first, and then, like, we'll kind of cycle back and, like, reach out to you when the time comes. And I was like, all right. Like, again, they're being truthful with me, honest with me about the whole process. Right. And so I left, went back to Harvard, and, you know, we were kind of keeping in contact every now and then, you know, as the months went on. And I remember I was actually in lecture for one of my psych classes because, like, they told me they weren't going to make a decision until they hired a new running backs coach. So I'm like, I turned their Twitter notifications on. Like, I'm waiting for this announcement. Like, okay, like they just announced that he's, like, this is who it is. Like, I should be getting a phone call soon or whatever. So I was like, all right. So they called me in lecture, and I hadn't seen anything on Twitter. So I was like, oh, they're probably telling me that they're going with somebody else. Like, I'm not coming. So I'm, like, literally in lecture. And, like, Harvard, like, most of the lectures you have, they're usually, like, 20 people, 30 people. This was, like, a pretty big one. It was, like, 50, 60, maybe even more. So I'm, like, sitting in the back of this big lecture hall. I get they call me. I just get up and leave. Like, I get up, leave, walk out the building. I answer the phone call. Oh, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I was just in class. And he left. I was like, yeah, you know, like, it's a big class. Like I can miss a couple minutes, you know. They probably think I just went to the bathroom or something, if anyone even noticed. And like, yeah, like, you know, we want you to come. Like, we're offering you, committed right there on the spot. Like, I didn't even talk to my parents, like, nothing. I was like, I'm coming. Like, simple as that. Yeah, I was like, it's over. It's a done deal. And, like, it was like, I knew that I was going to contribute. I was closer to home, you know, because I was talking to Bryant at the time too, but Bryant's all the way up in Rhode Island. So like for my parents to come and see my games,
That's
like
tough.
It's still like, you know, they're doing driving already, so it's like they just went from 4 years of driving to Boston and back.
Right.
Like, if I can be closer to home, I would like to be closer to home. So being closer to home, having that package, and then also just Jake being there too.
I was gonna say your boy's there, so
yeah,
it's like
having him there already kind of just, I knew the transition was gonna be that much easier because like here's somebody that I met when I was a senior in high school, and I've known him for the full 4 years that I don't know college football without Jake Brown. Like, you know what I'm saying? Real. Like that's kind of how it was for me. So I was like, all right, like he's already here. The transition should be a lot smoother, and it was. So yeah, that's kind of how I got there, and then I committed, was at school, you know, just finished out my senior spring, had a blast, you know, living it up, partying with my friends, you know, trying my best to train as best as I could, but you know, not really at the time. But then yeah, I graduated and I had to drive down to Monmouth the next day.
Wow.
So I literally packed up my stuff. I had to actually. So I flew home a week before they started their summer workouts, moved half of my stuff from my Harvard dorm into my summer dorm at Monmouth. Then I flew back up to Boston, finished out the semester, graduated, packed up the rest of the car, and drove to Monmouth the next day because I was late for summer workouts.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
So now you get to Monmouth. You have 2 productive seasons. Your last one having you score, 25 touchdowns, breaking the program record for rushing touchdowns, and you lead the entire nation in rushing touchdowns as well. Talk about that experience, like now being able to be more involved in the offense and making an impact on the offense as well compared to what you had to deal with the last 4 years prior to that. Like, what was that whole experience like? Honorable All-American too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was crazy. I think that, you know, coming in that first year at Monmouth, you know, I just wanted a chance to just play and contribute, you know. And my boy Jaden Sheridan had just come off a year where he led the country in rushing. He had like 1,700 yards. So I knew going into it, it was like, this is his backfield. I'm like, you know what? Like, he's got it. Like, I have this package where, like, I'm going to make an impact, and I'm going to do my best to take this and run with it. And I did. So I ended up getting like second team all conference my first season there, which was awesome. Like, you know, scored a bunch of touchdowns. Obviously the season record wise didn't go the way we did, but like I started to really fall in love with just playing football again and not the process leading up to the game, like really being out there and having the emotion of making plays and like feeling that pressure that you have when you're out there in that field for real. So I got my little taste. Jaden declares for the draft, and then, you know, coming into the offseason in spring ball, I was like, all right, like, this is it. Like, this is my last go-round. Like, this is my last real year playing football. I hadn't even really decided if I was going to go pro yet. I was kind of like, we'll see how things go. But at this point, it's kind of like, probably not, you know? So, good camp, season starts, and I'm in the same role, you know, like, the short yardage, you know, mainly pass protecting, you know, once we cross the 25, I'm in and I'm scoring, you know, and obviously, like, I ended up doing what I did this year, you know, breaking the single season rushing touchdown record, leading the country in touchdowns. But it's like, at the same time, like, the competitor in me, like, just wanted to be out there a little more. Which is all right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
That's what you should want from a player.
Exactly.
Like,
It's
you
like,
want to be out there.
Yeah, it's like, he did this, but, like, was I satisfied with what I did? Like, no. Like, I felt like, I'm like, damn, I probably could have had 800 yards and 30 touchdowns. Like,
I think you could have had over a band for real. Because I think the biggest misconception about you, too, is that you could only play within 25 yards of it. Because you could break an 80-yard run.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
And I've done it. Yeah, I've done it a bunch of times. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you run a 4.5.
Yeah.
Flat.
Yeah.
At what, 220?
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it was tough because, like, obviously I wanted to be out there more. You know, it was my last season, and I felt like I could have done more and to, like, help contribute. But, you know, like, the coaches probably felt that, you know, like, they wanted to go a different route, and, like, that's okay. Like, I don't get paid to make those decisions.
The thing I like about you, though, Sone, is, like, you maximize the opportunities you get.
Of course.
Right? And you never bad talk the coaches. You never put it on them. Like, you're just like, what opportunity am I getting, and how can I maximize this, right?
Yeah.
You went into a role, and the role that they gave you, you excelled in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You broke records in it. You know what I mean?
And I think it was more so, like, it was like, all right, like, if I'm not going to be out there or, like, as much as I want to be, like, it was literally like, every time I touch this ball, I got to score. Like, and that's really, like, it was like, every time I'm in this game, like, I'm leaving with 6 points, like, or more every single time I play this game. So, yeah, I mean, I had a great time, like, and honestly, probably my biggest accomplishment was just getting voted team captain and being there for such a short amount of time. Like, I was there for less than a year.
Wow.
Like I was there for one season, got voted team captain, like, which was crazy, like, going into my 6th year. And the biggest thing was just me, you know, setting an example, you know, like, regardless of how I felt I was in my situation or what my situation was, it was like, I'm a leader on this team. I'm a 6th year. Like, I have to act a certain way because there's younger kids on this team that, like, if they see me act out, they're going to think they can do the same thing. We're like, that's not how we conduct ourselves. Like, you know, you got to be a very calculated, and everything has to be intentional. Like, everything has to be with intent. So, yeah, I mean, the whole mom situation was awesome. You know, at the end of the day, like, there's a silver lining in everything. And it's like, of course, like, do I think that I could have done way more? 100%. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, dude, I'm 2nd in program history in rushing touchdowns. I broke the single season record. You know, I was 2-time all conference. You know, like, all these things. It's like, how can you look at that and still be mad?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I had a great experience. I love the guys on that team, you know, and, like, I talk to them every day as well, make sure they're doing all right. You know, like, we have the real conversations outside of football. So, like, I had a great experience there for sure.
And that experience has been able to, like, open up some doors of potential professional opportunities, right? Like,
yeah.
I know you had a few local days, or was it just the Jets?
I had the Jets, the Giants, and the Eagles.
Yeah. So talk about that experience, man. Like, you're putting on an NFL helmet, right? You're doing workouts and stuff, or you just, like, how is that whole process?
So, like, me deciding to even pursue that came from, like, I was kind of in the point where it was like, all right, like, if I have a good last year, like, I have the size to do it, but, like,
speed,
you know, like, I felt like I knew I could test well if it came down to it, but I was like, like, I just don't know.
You did test well. You tested great, actually,
so
bro.
it was like, I just didn't know. But my agent at the time, he had kind of reached out to me before that second season and was kind of like, hey, I think you can play, this, that, and the third.
That's before the second season.
Before my 6th year.
Wow.
So, and I was like, all right, like maybe I do have a shot. If he's someone that's been in this space for this long and knows how to evaluate talent, again, it's like why not try and take it to the next level?
Right.
Like if the opportunity's there, like why not take it? So yeah, and then season ended, and I was like, you know what? Like I signed with him, signed with their agency, and then went out to Indiana for my pro day training, and was out there for 8 weeks, working out with my guy Steve. Man, he's like one of the best in the country.
Wow.
And all those numbers that you see is purely because of the dedication and attention to detail that he had with me and the guys that we trained with for 8 weeks. Come home, have pro day, killed the pro day as best as I could. I felt like there's still some things that I felt like I wanted back from that day, but overall, solid performance, I felt like. And then, I got invited to some of the local days, Giants, Jets, Eagles, and it was cool, like, just being somebody that, grew up a fan of the game and, watched NFL football from when I started playing to now, and, like, being in these facilities for workouts and meeting the head coaches and sitting in meetings with the running back coaches and all the other stuff, like, it was kind of like you almost got to take a step back and be like, damn, like,
wow,
like, look at how far you've come. Like this is really your life that you're living right now. Like I showed up and like I got a lanyard from the Giants thing. Like, how you get the lanyards on the recruiting visits in college. Like I'm like,
is this
it's
real?
got the Giants logo. It's got my name on it. I'm like, damn, like this is crazy. So yeah, I mean, those experiences were awesome. Being able to work out there, work one-on-one with those coaches, and just be in those spaces is just amazing. Like I can't.
It's a blessing to even be in a room. You know 100%. What I mean?
It's like it's a blessing to even just be there. Like you said, like it's crazy when you think about it. Like just to even be in those spaces. Like thinking about like I started this as a way, started playing football as a way to make friends, and look at how far I've came. Like,
crazy, bro. I want to ask you this, like, the cards fall in your favor. You do end up getting picked up by an NFL team. Like, what kind of player are they getting?
Again, I think it's just somebody that just works their tail off, and again, I feel like a lot of people, when you get to that point, like, they play the game for a lot of the wrong reasons, like, whether it's money or whatever, I think that someone like myself, like, kind of like we said, like I've just been somebody that's always just run their own race and been someone that regardless of what happens, like I'm just gonna work because like that's all I've known since I was a kid. It's just like if you want something, you just gotta work for it. And again, like my entirety of my college career, like the 2 years that, like I feel like that probably speaks to the type of player that they're getting more than anything else. It's like, look at this kid, like he had 4 terrible years at Harvard playing wise, takes a risk, goes to Monmouth, still kind of gets overlooked, but excels in the role that he's in. And it's like every step of the way, like I was just working. And I didn't know when my time was going to come. And we talked about this yesterday. It's like those 2 years that I had don't happen if I don't continue and work the first 4.
That's real.
Knowing that, like, I wasn't going to play.
That's real.
Throughout the injuries and all the other stuff, like all I know is just to work hard. And like I'm just someone that's happy to, just blessed to be there. I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna work my tail off, and like whatever happens, happens. Like I know that the life of an undrafted player is like it's week to week. It's even day to day. You never know. And I'm just gonna be somebody that's gonna make the most out of every day and just try my best to learn, because like at the end of the day, like it's a blessing to be anywhere within on that team. So yeah.
I want to ask you one more question and then we'll sign off. But I always like to end the podcast with like giving advice to like the younger generation, like the kids that are up and coming, like going into college and all that stuff, kids that are currently in high school or kids that are even currently in college that might have dealt with the same thing you dealt with. But what is some advice that you would give to kids that are just trying to find their own way, that it may not be going the way they wanted to? They see themselves as people that can compete at a higher level, right, and can contribute, but it's not. And things may not be going their way. Like, what would you say to that kid?
I would just tell them you never know when your time's gonna come. You know, like for myself, my time came 5 years after I got to college. Like, I feel like if you have the right mentality and you have the right work ethic, regardless of what happens, like, I feel like the biggest thing is just not being attached to like, oh, I need to do this. Like, I need to rush for 1,000 yards, whatever. It needs to be like, okay, how can I improve every day? How can I attack this process? And then if I obtain those goals, that's just extra. If I don't, I'm a better man for what I did in that entire process, you know? Like, you learn how to stay down and run your race regardless of what happens. And it's like, oh, if you rush for 1,000 yards, it's like, all right, like, I rushed for 1,000 yards, but I put the work in. And even if you don't, even if you fall short, it's like, all right, you can still find peace in knowing that, like, you did everything the right way.
Facts.
Because there's a lot of people that it's like, when things are going the way, they're working really hard, and when they're not working hard. They're like, oh, I don't got to work hard. Things aren't really going my way. But it's
That's real.
like what I said to you yesterday, like, you never know when your time's going to come. Like,
It's a fact.
some people, I feel like a lot of people walk away before their time comes, like, and they give up before their time comes. Like, and their time could have been the next week, but they would never know because they walked away, you know? And I would just tell everybody, just stay down, like, run your race. Like, don't look at what somebody else has and what situation they're in. Like, attack your situation and make the most out of your situation. And regardless of if you play or not, if you score all the touchdowns or rush for however many yards, like, if you attack the process and you're committed to the process of just getting better every day, like, you're going to become a better person outside of football, which at the end of the day is the end goal.
For sure.
Because, you know, football is going to end at some point for everybody, even myself, you know?
For sure.
But I know that when I'm done and I can't put that helmet on anymore, like, I know the type of man that I am because of everything that I went through in my process playing football.
So good, bro. I ain't gonna lie, you couldn't have answered that question any better. And I know you've seen some reward from like playing at Monmouth and some of the opportunities that you're getting now, right? But you have yet to see the full reward of what you went through those 4 years at Harvard.
Yeah.
Because once you're done with football, that process, that man you became, that being able to have that delayed gratification, once you're done, like once you get into the like real world, you're about to see how much that is about to pay off for you and 100%. How you're able to be just bought into such a process and being okay with not seeing the reward right away. And you're going to see how much that is going to benefit you just in life. Yeah. Whether you get into business, whether you get into anything, like I'm telling you right now, like the way you're about to reap the benefit of that is going to be through the roof. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you coming on, bro. Rooting for you, bro. I hope you nothing but the best, man. I hope a team signs you. I feel like that would be fire. I feel like you deserve it. I feel like you put the work in. I feel like you got the speed, the strength, the power for it. Now it's just a team's got to take a shot on you. You know what I mean? So praying for you, bro. Wish you nothing but the best. If you guys are on this, continue to subscribe. And we'll be back with more fire next week. Stay blessed, everybody.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you.